If you have a dachshund or you are thinking about getting one, you need to watch this video until the end. There are very common mistakes that almost every owner makes without realizing it, and they can cause pain, spinal problems, and even reduce your dog's quality of life. And the worst part? Many people think they are doing everything right, when in reality, they are putting their dachshund at risk every single day. This breed is incredible, loving, fun, and very loyal, but it is also one of the most sensitive when it comes to health and certain habits. And a simple habit inside the house, something that seems normal, might be exactly what is harming your little sausage dog. Today, I'm going to show you what these mistakes are that almost every dachshund owner makes, why they can be dangerous, and what you should do to protect your dog the right way. So make sure to subscribe to the Universo Dachshund channel, because here we talk about everything related to dachshunds, with tips that really help in everyday life. And now pay close attention, because the first mistake is the most common of all.
Mistake 1. Many people think the dachshund is just a small, long dog, but the truth is that this breed's anatomy is very different from most dogs. The dachshund was bred to hunt inside burrows, which is why it has a long body, short legs, and a more extended spine. And exactly because of this structure, its back suffers much more impact than other dogs. And this is where one of the most common mistakes owners make at home comes in, letting the dachshund jump on and off the couch, the bed, or high places as if it were a normal dog. When it jumps, even from a small height, the force of the impact does not stay only in the paws. It spreads through the entire spine, especially in the thoracic and lumbar areas, which are exactly the regions where this breed has the highest risk of disc herniation. Veterinarians explain that dachshunds have a higher predisposition to intervertebral disc disease because the discs in their spine can degenerate earlier than in other breeds. And it's not only the spine that suffers. Repeated impact can also overload the shoulders and front joints, because with short legs, the body absorbs weight differently. Over time, this can cause pain, inflammation, and even difficulty walking. Many people only notice when the dog starts avoiding jumping, when it cries when being picked up, or when it becomes quieter than usual. That's why one of the best ways to protect a dachshund is simple. Avoid letting it jump off couches, beds, or stairs. Use ramps whenever possible, and teach from an early age that it needs help to get down. It may seem exaggerated, but this care makes a huge difference for spinal health over time. Mistake 2. Overweight, another silent danger for dachshunds. Another very common mistake, and one that many people don't take seriously enough, is letting the dachshund become overweight. Because it has a long spine, any extra weight increases the pressure on the vertebral discs, and this greatly increases the risk of pain, inflammation, and back problems. Veterinarians often say that excess weight is one of the factors that most contributes to orthopedic problems in this breed. And many times the owner doesn't even notice that the dog is gaining weight, because dachshunds naturally tend to have a rounder belly. In addition, some common everyday foods can make their health much worse, such as too many treats, seasoned food, fatty food, table scraps, bread, cookies, and pasta, high-calorie foods. The ideal is to keep a balanced diet, with high-quality dog food or a diet guided by a veterinarian. Nowadays, many people are also looking for natural diets, but this needs proper guidance, because dachshunds need specific nutrients to keep their joints, muscles, and spine healthy. It's not just about giving homemade food, it's about doing it the right way. And if you want, I can make a video only about the ideal diet for dachshunds, or about natural feeding, or about how to know if your little sausage dog is overweight. If any of these topics interest you, leave a comment below, because I always read the comments and I can make a video just about that. And in the next point, there's another mistake that many people make every day without realizing it.
Mistake 3. Anxiety, a very common problem in dachshunds. Another point that many people don't know, but that is very common in this breed, is anxiety. The dachshund is a dog that becomes extremely attached to its owner. It likes to stay close, it likes company, it likes routine. And when this changes, it can become stressed, restless, or even develop separation anxiety. Some signs that may indicate anxiety in your little sausage dog are barking too much when left alone, destroying objects, urinating in the wrong place even when trained, being restless all the time, crying when the owner leaves, not being able to relax. And this is not just behavior. Veterinarians explain that constant stress increases the release of hormones like cortisol,
which can affect the immune system, sleep, and even muscle and joint health. A very anxious dachshund tends to stay more tense, more agitated, and this increases the risk of sudden movements, jumping, and running inside the house, which can also harm the spine over time. That's why this breed needs routine, needs stimulation, needs walks, and needs attention in the right amount. Not emotional neglect, but not too much pampering either. Balance is what keeps a dachshund calmer and healthier. And since we talked about walks, here comes another mistake that many people make without realizing it. Mistake 4. The wrong way to walk a dachshund. Many owners use a neck collar without thinking twice because that's what is most common for most dogs. But in the case of a dachshund, this may not be the best choice. When the dog pulls the leash while wearing a neck collar, the force goes directly to the cervical area, which is the part of the spine near the neck. And since the dachshund already has a predisposition to spinal problems, this repeated pressure can cause pain, inflammation, and even injuries over time. In addition, the long body means that the impact of pulling does not stay only in the neck, it can spread through the entire spine. Another important point is that when the dog pulls too much, it also overloads the shoulders and the front legs, which already carry a lot of weight because of the breed's low structure. For this reason, many veterinarians recommend using a harness instead of a neck collar, especially for dachshunds. A harness distributes the force better across the body, reduces pressure on the spine, and makes walks safer. The ideal is to choose a comfortable harness that is not too tight, but not too loose either. Walking is important. It is good for the body, it is good for the mind, but it needs to be done the right way. And there is still another very common mistake that can harm a dachshund, and many people do it inside the house without imagining the risk. Tell me something. Have you noticed yourself making any of these mistakes so far? For example, I didn't know about the anxiety issue in this breed, but after I learned more about it, I was able to take much better care of my buddy. Tell me here in the comments about your experience too.
Mistake 5. The right way to pick up a dachshund. Another very common mistake, and one that can harm a dachshund over time, is picking it up the wrong way. Because it is a small dog, many people lift it with only one hand, holding it from the front or leaving the body hanging. But because of the shape of its spine, this is not ideal. The dachshund has a long body, and its muscles need to support that length. When the back part is not supported, the spine becomes strained, and this can cause discomfort, pain, and even small injuries over time. The safest way to pick up a sausage dog is by supporting two parts of the body. One hand under the chest, and the other supporting the back part near the hind legs. This way, the weight is balanced, the spine stays aligned, and the risk of injury is much lower. It may seem like a small detail, but anyone who has a dachshund needs to remember that this breed requires special care, exactly because of its body structure. And this care starts when they are still puppies. Mistake 6. Important care when the dachshund is a puppy. Many people think spinal care starts when the dog becomes an adult, but in reality, everything begins when it is still a puppy. This is the stage when the muscles are developing, when the bones are growing, and when habits are being formed. A puppy that grows up with the wrong diet, lack of exercise, or excess weight has a much higher chance of developing spinal problems in the future. Because of that, some precautions are very important at this stage. Avoid letting the puppy jump from high places, control the diet to prevent weight gain, use high-quality dog food or a diet guided by a veterinarian, do not get the puppy used to table scraps, do not give too many treats, encourage light play to strengthen the muscles, avoid very slippery floors, teach from an early age to use ramps or to get down with help. When a dachshund grows up with strong muscles and controlled weight, the spine is more protected, the joints suffer less, and the risk of injury is much lower. Another important point is not to create bad habits from the beginning, because once the dog learns them, it becomes much harder to fix later. Teaching the right way from puppyhood is what makes the difference for their health when they become adults.
Anyone who has a dachshund knows that it is not just a dog. The little sausage dog becomes part of the routine, the home, the family. Always nearby, always wanting company, always taking part in everything. And precisely because they are so special, they also need special care. Many times we make mistakes without knowing it. We repeat habits we see other people doing, or we think everything is the same as with any other breed. But the Dachshund has its own characteristics, has a different structure, has a predisposition to certain problems, and that is why it is so important to look for information, learn, and better understand what is good for them. Nowadays, we have access to a lot of content, but not everything we see on the internet is correct. Consuming educational content, listening to guidance based on veterinary knowledge, understanding how to prevent problems, all of this makes a difference so that our little sausage dog can live longer with more comfort and better health. Because in the end, those who love take care, and taking care also means learning. If you like Dachshunds, have one at home, or want to learn more and more about this amazing breed, make sure to subscribe here to the Universo Dachshund channel. Here we talk only about the sausage dog breed, with tips, care, curiosities, and guidance that help in everyday life and that can make a big difference in their health and quality of life. And now, I want to hear from you. Do you have a Dachshund? Is it smooth-haired, long-haired, or wire-haired? What color is it? Leave a comment below, because I love reading about your little sausage dogs, and that also helps me bring more and more useful videos for people who love this breed. A big hug, and see you in the next video, here on Universo Dachshund.